Ironside will not be seen tonight, so we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon. The Trek Watch. Good to see everybody. We got Franco, we got Mitch. We are beat from Terrificon. We'll talk about that. And Wayne is on assignment. He's out on a away mission at I forget what they call it now, but we'll call it Star Trek Vegas.
ST something. Mission ST or something.
Yeah, well, I think it's like the 57 year. Because they don't they're not officially affiliated with Paramount anymore.
Correct.
But they don't need Paramount at this point. So hi Langley.
We missed the Wayne. Where is he?
Yeah, man, we do miss Wayne. And you're right, Langley. It used to be Star Trek STLV.
Maybe something like that.
Maybe they do just call it STLV without actually using the the words anymore.
Yeah, they wanted to call it STD, but that didn't go over.
Well, that's like
they got a cream for that now.
Exactly, it's called Star Trek Discovery or STD.
Put some ointment on it.
Crap. We got a lot of catching up to do because Franco missed our talks about episodes 6 and 7, so I want to give him a chance. I know, sorry, Mitch. Sorry, Mitch. But because also, of course, for all three of us, we haven't had a chance to talk about episodes 8 and 9. But I do want to give Franco the chance, and I want to ask about some key things from 6 and 7. Maybe Mitch has questions for Franco too. But episode 6 was that Uhura Hemmer episode with Kirk and Uhura trying to figure out all the strange things Uhura was hearing, and she was hearing weird things, and the one other crew member was hearing weird things, and she kept seeing Hemmer in her head and everything. What'd you think of that?
She had Hammerhead.
Hammerhead, exactly.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse me because I saw it so long ago. It was only 2 days ago that I watched that one. But I liked the episode. I thought it was kind of cool that they're starting to branch out into these other characters, and I wasn't sure about liking Uhura in the new Trek, but I'm kind of digging her. It's giving her some backstory, and I'm liking it. And again, I'm going into this with the caveat that this is an alternate universe. It's not tied to the original series. And I really dug that episode. I thought it was very Star Trek-y, but you hated it, I know.
I didn't hate it, but I said my nitpicks, and among them was, hey, Hemmer's coming back. Hey, Hemmer's coming back. And he just kind of stood there. And I know, and he was in her mind. And I hated how cheeseball-y ending it was, where Hemmer in Uhura's mind nods and fades away, and it's just like, okay. And also, and it also has to do with the last couple of episodes. I'm sorry, I don't, and I know I've said this a million times. Paul Wesley is Kirk. I'm just not buying it. I'm really not. He has no charisma. We'll get into his relationship with La'an when we talk about the musical in a second. Good Lord. But I'm not buying him, and I didn't like. I really didn't like how he introduced himself to Uhura, and she's like, "Don't hit on me," and it's like,
Yeah.
Jesus, man. And
Well,
I
she
guess
was in a vulnerable state, like right then. She didn't want to be hit on.
okay,
Come on, just because you don't know anything about women, Johnny.
yeah, clearly, I understand. Mike wants to know is his Wayne All Starfleet Glee Club. We're gonna have to wait for Wayne's thoughts when he gets back from STLV because he's too busy living the Trek life in Vegas, so he hasn't had a chance to watch the musical.
Well, you got to make it sound good. Like we sent him out there to report for us because we couldn't all be out there.
Oh no, that goes without saying. I mean, he was our reporter in San Diego about all the Trek stuff that happened in San Diego and stuff. So no. We'll get a full report from Wayne. Don't worry.
Yeah, we will.
Hell, you're going to be going on an away mission overseas for the next couple of weeks, Francis. So
yes,
I don't imagine we'll get your thoughts on the finale until you get back.
Right? Probably because I leave next week for London and Dublin. I'm at Dublin Comic Con. So if you're out there and you're in Dublin, come by see me.
Amen. Absolutely, Mitch. I figured you were going to be too wiped from Terrificon to join us tonight. I'm glad you're here.
No, I'm fine. I'm good at wiping.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Front to back.
Your mom.
First year, I didn't really lose my voice completely. I actually only was a little hoarse, and no, I've been fine all week because
Okay.
We got to start preparing for August 16th to the 18th. We had to move the date. Thank you, San Diego Comic-Con.
Next year. Yeah, Terrificon 24. Yeah.
That's right. Only so Franco could come to it. That's why I moved it.
No, we appreciate that. That's good.
Ain't a party without a Franco.
Hell yeah.
No, especially we're in the top of the rock. Yeah.
Let's have a musical podcast.
How about episode 7, Francis, the crossover with Lower Decks?
Okay, so I didn't hear any of your thoughts. Did you completely hate it, Johnny?
No, I liked it, and again, I'll tell you why. I did think it was funny. I think Tawny Newsome works better live action as Mariner than animated.
I
but
thought
also,
so
too. They telegraphed that they were going to do this, so I was like, okay. I mean, I don't mind, and we'll get to it more when we talk about the musical and stuff in a second. But too many gimmick episodes this season, and if it had just been one of the three, whether it was the musical or Spock becoming human or the crossover, I would have been fine with one. But you only have 10 episodes, and a third of their episodes are gimmicks. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've come for Star Trek. I didn't come for a comedy. I didn't come for a musical. I came for Star Trek. What the fuck are you doing? So, but I liked the crossover.
Having said that, I liked the crossover as well. I don't think they did too many gimmicks. I think it was real shaky at the beginning. Yeah, it was real shaky at the beginning of the season with a couple episodes. Because I'm like, what are they doing here? But I'm liking all the episodes. I like the crossover. I think she works great as a live action Mariner rather than an animated one. I thought Boimler, what's his face?
Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid
was actually really good in the episode as well. He was kind of bouncy and Boimlery, but it played well in the episode. I liked the entire thing. I couldn't say more good things about it.
Spock's goofy smile really creeped me out.
Yeah,
really creeped me out.
But I think that was on purpose because he's really working. He's trying to work the chapel.
I understand. He's trying to work
praying at the chapel. Yeah.
He's working his bishop into the chapel. I understand. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So those are the ones that we didn't hear from Franco before. Now we can start with episode 8, Under the Cloak of War, which I have to say mostly I really enjoyed it. It was the most Star Trek episode of any of the Strange New Worlds, including the one last year when they plugged in the kid to the computer and sucked the life out of him and stuff. Because that, again, everyone pointed out correctly that they kind of lifted that from Ursula Le Guin's short story back in the day. But this was original. I mean, it echoed the Deep Space Nine episode where they're in the war front with Billy Mooney as a guest star, and that's where Nog lost his leg.
Oh yeah,
and that was a very heavy, intense, pretty depressing, war as hell episode of Deep Space Nine. But I liked the idea that Chapel and M'Benga are working at a MASH unit. Basically, I thought all that was cool. I like the idea of a Klingon ambassador that has defected and now is trying to work for the Federation for peace. He was a very un-Klingon Klingon in very good ways, and also I can appreciate the doubt on M'Benga, Chaplin, Ortegas's minds that, well, how do we trust this guy? So I thought all that, and we'll get into some more in a second. But I understood Ortegas not being able to control herself, and even at that dinner. But one thing that was a very glaring, like, okay, why did they let that slide? I know that Una said stand down, but if it were like, remember all the great Picard Worf scenes where Worf crosses the Starfleet line? Picard didn't let him do it. Picard absolutely got in his face and is like, "Hey, you're Starfleet, okay? So you got to make a choice. Are you Starfleet?"
Act like it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it really, honestly, man, you can hear my tone. It pissed me off that we didn't have a scene where Pike reprimanded her, or if they don't want to show a man reprimanding a woman in this day and age, because that seems to just be the way they write Trek these days, fine. Una could have done it, because Riker and other first officers have dressed down junior officers and said, hey, sharpen up, okay? Don't, that doesn't fly. Next time you do that, you're confined to quarters. We're going to put a reprimand on your record, something. And instead we got Una like, hey, what the hell's she doing? And Pike going, well, I don't know. And it's like, congratulations, Anson. I love you. And 9 times out of 10, you're a hell of a captain. But that's like the worst lack of a captain move I've seen of any captain on Star Trek. And it's like, that's lame. That is lame.
I agree with you to a point, but they did make a point of addressing it in the episode where people who weren't there and didn't go through that, what Chapel and Ortega and the Doctor did, that there was that line where it's hard to explain to someone who wasn't there. And I agree with you about the dressing down, which they should have done, but I think that's what they were trying to go with, and it kind of translated for me a little bit, But I agree with you that he should have dressed him down, especially being Pike and being the captain, and this is what we're trying to do. Yes, but I could see what they were trying to do, and it worked for me in a sense.
Mitch, any thoughts?
I am indifferent.
Okay. Did you like the episode?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
Because I told you, we talked about this a while ago. I thought the series was just going to be Pike, number one, and Spock, or whoever. And then this year it's like everybody but Pike has been on the show, and all the other people. It's fine, they all shine and stuff, but it's like you said, that was episode 7 or 8. That was 8. And then 9's the musical, and 10's right. So I'm like, well, he's going to hopefully be on one episode. So that kind of just bummed me out. I mean, it's a good episode, but when I started looking at the numbers, I go, man, oh man, what a wasted season number 2 is going to be when I look back.
In general, I absolutely agree with you. Again, 3 out of 10 episodes being gimmick episodes.
Yeah.
Way too much. Way too much.
And then you told me this weekend, I think you texted us why you heard, and I should have asked Rebecca Romaine. She would know why he hasn't been on much. And you said because his wife just had a baby and he asked for some time to be with his new family. I guess that's the thing. But I'm like, okay. I mean,
I
he's the star of the show. He's the first name on the credits. It's like you expect to see him a lot more than just a background character. And it's been, it's fun to learn about these other guys because I do know them now than I do anybody that was ever on Discovery. That's fine. But I don't know. Season
No,
one
man.
was so fucking good. I went out and bought
Yeah.
season one when it came out, and I haven't done that in years. I actually watched them all again this year. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to go back and watch any of this. Maybe the Boimler crossover episode I'll watch again because it was well done and it was fun. But
Right now, I would say
rest.
that I would rewatch the crossover and episode 8. This one we're talking about because I thought it was really, really good. Another thing that bothered me was,
But that's it, just 2.
so far. I mean, we'll see how the final episode is with the Gorn War. I saw the tease for it on Will Wheaton's show.
Okay.
And we'll get to the musical in a second, but still on this episode, I liked that Mabenga and Chappell and even Ortega still have post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff, and I think they played it well. What I didn't like was that it did get to the point where, I mean, again, they had it behind the glass, but I think we all really know that Mabenga probably killed that guy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sorry, he's a doctor, and Chappell's a nurse, and he killed a guy, and she lied about it, and it's like, so I guess the Hippocratic Oath only applies to human beings.
Well,
now wait a minute, man, because literally I watched the DS9 episode, ironically called Hippocratic Oath, where Bashir and O'Brien are on the planet with the Jem'Hadar, and the one Jem'Hadar leader had, in some genetic fluke, got rid of his addiction to the Ketracel White drug, and they wanted Bashir to make the drug and stuff, or make a cure for the drug. And in that episode, again, like O'Brien's like, they're the enemy. What the fuck are you doing? And he's like, well, no, man. He goes, if I can help them, I have to help them. I'm a doctor. And I know that's a couple, 100 years past Strange New Worlds, but it does kind of bother me that Mabenga, killed him. And further,
but I don't know for sure, though.
Well, I'll tell you 2 things, Francis, because his final medical log, you could take as a metaphor of his actions against that Klingon. And also, by the way, the Klingon absolutely was pushing him. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he really was almost pleading with them, stay away from me. I can't be friends with you, but you have to be. And it's like, no, man, fuck off. And I don't blame him. And God, even my buddy Chucky quoted the great line from The Wounded, the Next Generation episode, where O'Brien is drinking a 10 Ford with the Cardassian, and he's like, it's not you that I hate, Cardassian. It's what you made me become.
Right.
And that's essentially the subtext of this episode of Strange New Worlds, which is brilliant. And I'm really glad they did it. But I also think that final medical log, I think Ra, or whatever the Klingon's name was, I think he was gravely wounded, but then they took him to sickbay because they didn't say he was deceased until it seemed that Chappell and Mabenga were giving the report to La'an and Pike. And then you got the readout that he was dead. And then he's at the bio bed and he's like, oh yeah, I fixed the bio bed. Sometimes these things break down and it may happen again. And I kind of think not only did he mortally wound him, but he put him on that ineffective bio bed to slowly kill him, which is cold-blooded. And in my head, you can hear the smile in my voice. I think was a very, very ballsy move, especially in this day and age of New Trek, where I do think they handle everything with kid gloves. So I appreciated how dark it got and everything. But yeah, I have to admit, it is kind of weird that the 2 medical people that have the Hippocratic Oath were okay with killing this guy.
Then they really set up Mabenga where he was the butcher, not the Klingon. And that was kind of like thrown a loop into the storyline, which I liked a lot. I'm like, holy crap, this guy went through and killed all those guys.
Here, Langley says, I thought they obscured the deaths to set up an inquiry that would show that the Klingon killed himself, but ending so vaguely bothered me too. Yeah, again, it didn't bother me, but as Mike Jones says, they followed the hypocritical oath instead. That's right. No, it was interesting, and again, I liked it enough, and I would watch it again. I think it was a very, very good episode. Always great to see Clint Howard once again on
Clint Howard. Cool.
I don't know, Mitch. Thought again, you just
has he been on before?
Yeah, when he was a little baby.
Well, even other times he's on. He's in that DS9 with Gabriel Bell. when they're in San Francisco.
Oh, that's right. The
He's
homeless
one of the
shelter.
weirdo homeless
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
And he was on Discovery. Was I want to say a Ferengi on Discovery. He's been on like 4 or 5 times over the years.
Should get him for the show next time.
Oh, I'd love. Yeah, Clint Howard would be great, dude. Absolutely, Clint Howard would be great at Terrificon. His whole body of work. My God.
Yeah,
His whole body.
Even
his
gentle.
whole body.
So
He
yeah.
sells that trick. What was it called? The trichocallia, whatever they drink.
Oh no, Tranya.
Tranya, that's it. Yes, he serves that. He sells that at cons. I heard.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know what it's made out of, but
it looks like a peach kind of color. So I don't know. Every now and then I'll have like a peach soda, and I'll think to me I'm like having Tranya. I hope you relish it as much as I do. Good episode, Baylock.
Yeah, I mean I've seen more. I've loved Nurse Chapel, as we know. I've self-proclaimed my love for this woman on this show, so I've seen more of her this season than I thought I ever would. But I'm almost kind of like, yeah, all right. Can I see Captain Pike come back? And then the musical, it was over the top, but I was like, I love you, Bush.
Yeah,
I really want to see the captain.
I'm saving our Terrificon photos after we talk about.
Yeah.
All right, the musical. And Franco, really, you and Yvette, I know your wife are big musical goers. Yeah.
I was going to say I'm a big musical theater fan, and my wife came down because I watched the episode today, and my wife came down because she heard it and she wanted to see what was going on. The first time my wife has watched more than 5 minutes of Star Trek, I gotta tell you. Yeah. Sure. But it was 5 minutes and then she left because she's like, "Oh, this is Star Trek, so I'm leaving." But she watched like a full 5 minutes of it. I liked the episode a lot, more than I thought I was going to. When we were discussing that this was a thing that was going to happen, I'd be like, "Oh boy." But I like the way they brought it into the story. I like that, and Spock can sing, like if that's him, that's awesome. And I enjoyed the episode a lot, And every one of these episodes is growing on me more and more. I know Mitch and Johnny totally disagree with me because they hate everything.
No, I do not hate everything.
But I also want an episode where they're all bunnies. Now because they brought that up in the episode where I don't want to be a bunny when they were talking about that when they were in the conference room. So I do now want an episode where they're all bunnies. Or I want to draw the comic where they're all bunnies. Yeah. I want to see Star Trek bunnies. And my last thought about it is, how do I get the official soundtrack? Spotify,
LCD. That's
going to be out. If they had the Avengers Rogers musical, which I heard that's already thing, they're going to do this too.
Sure. Yeah. Again, I don't mind humor in Star Trek. I don't mind gimmicks, but when you only have 10 episodes, it's one too many. And further, you know what really annoyed me? The big finale. Well, okay, let's turn things over to Uhura. Hi. You might not know who I am, but I'm Lieutenant Uhura, and I'm the communications officer. If there's anybody on the bridge crew that the entire crew knows, probably the communications officer. And especially the way they set up the beginning, where there's something wrong with communications, and I got to be like a switchboard operator, and it's like, Jesus, you people don't even pay attention to what you write, for Christ's sake. God damn it. Oh, man, it's that. And also, why did La'an not sing her love to Kirk? And listen, before I start a sea shanty, let me just tell you now. It's like you just set up that if they have something emotional, they're going to burst out into song. And we know she can sing. We've got pictures from Wayne from the Trek Vegas show where she signed her CD to Wayne and stuff. So she is a singer, and I know Uhura is too. But I just thought, again, just cutesy bullshit, like when Chapel made the women turn around to the cloud when she's professing her love to Spock, and it's just like, "Hi, you don't know who I am?" "Yeah, we do. Sure, we do. I just put a call through you 5 minutes ago. Why the fuck wouldn't I know who you are? You're the goddamn communications officer.
You're so
Give me a break."
See, I'm not as angry as that guy.
Yeah, but it's so stupid.
so angry,
Hi.
Johnny.
The
Hi,
way
how are you? I'm cute.
Years
and I know
ago-
who I am.
years ago, when I would tell my wife that we're going to go see like Star Wars. They used to have Star Wars in concert and all that stuff. You know, you go hear all the music. It was very nice.
Sure.
But and my kids were little, and they would have a thing called Ice Capades, where they would take Disney on ice,
Yeah,
and they would take
sure.
Toy Story, and they would do the story of
On
the
ice.
cartoon, but it would be on ice. And that was our running joke. I'd see a shitty movie or bad TV show, and my wife would go, maybe it would be better on ice.
Absolutely.
So she walked into the room, and I had to watch this episode because we had to talk about it tonight.
Sorry, Mitch.
And she hears the singing, and my mother calls, and the TV's loud, and she's like, "Oh, he's watching some Star Trek thing. Yeah, it's really stupid. They're all singing tonight on it. No, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, no, that's really what's happening. They're singing on Star Trek." I go, "It's Star Trek. We've been through it. It's with an E, not an A." And she's like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm out of here." So then she popped in later. She goes, "You know what this show would be better on?" I go, "On ice?" She goes, "Yeah, if they were all skating around, I'd watch it." And then I thought about it. You never know. Season 3,
There's
they could
always
all
next
be
season, yeah.
they all be in spandex, and they're all doing the back, the doubles, whatever spin and going around. But you know what's funny? I did not think of all the actors on the show. You say she's a singer, Leon or whatever.
Lon and
Leon,
Umar are both.
I
like,
thought maybe
talented.
maybe my sound was off, but when she went in that room to sing, I thought it was all lip sync. I go, wow, she's not really singing, but now you're telling me she's really
I'm sure it
singing.
was all lip sync.
Well, yeah,
It just looked a little awkward as opposed to the other ones. I'm like, oh, she's a little off there,
I didn't see the whole Ready Room because after watching the musical, I can only take so much of the Ready Room, and Will Wheaton gushing about the musical.
Wasn't it great?
Yeah,
no, it reminded me of the Flash when they did that singing episode.
100%. Yeah,
I couldn't stand that either.
And at least like Buffy, they did do original songs. But I have to confess, I like traditional musicals, Rodgers and Hammerstein and Lerner and Lowe and some of the classics and stuff, and even Sondheim and West Side Story. Right. But I'm not a big Rent fan. I liked Hamilton enough, but it reminded me a lot lot.
That would have been funny if they did Spock be a Vulcan tonight. Spock be a Vulcan tonight. Like
The Simpsons did Luke be a Jedi. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. But that's the thing, man. Or The Simpsons when they did the Planet of the
Apes. Remember that? Yeah. I love every chimpanzee or a chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Exactly. And it ends with, I love you, Dr. Zayas.
Yeah, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
That's the thing.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
And of course, fine. They found a way to put it in story, I guess. But I don't know, man. I didn't like it. I didn't like that all the songs were Unrequited Love, Woe Is Me.
Yeah.
There weren't enough fun songs.
No, they weren't all. Number one song was like Trust in Your Crew.
Well, yeah, it was
will be true.
Yeah, whatever.
But Rebecca Romaine, she was cute.
Oh God, man!
That was funny.
And then of course, Jesus, meeting her at Terrific Con, she couldn't have been lovelier. And Terry Farrell too, for that matter. Langley says Celia Uhura, Celia Rose Gooding is.
No, she sang very well.
She has a Grammy and a Tony, and he didn't realize that today. Langley remembers. This was the title of the Planet of the Apes bit.
You know what was good about this episode? I could walk around the house and did not have to sit in front of the TV and watch this son of a bitch.
Watch the embarrassing.
I was in the next room. I was checking my bills. I was letting the dog in and out, feeding. Oh, they're still. Okay. They're about singing about love. Okay, you didn't have to sit there and go.
You don't know what you're missing.
The Kirk Laan thing. I understand. I'm glad that they brought up. Hey, listen, I can't get involved. I got Carol Marcus knocked up.
I heard that. I was like, yes.
But again.
Okay, now, did he know that she was pregnant, or
no?
Like
I
Star Trek 2, I thought he didn't know.
Oh no, he absolutely says, "I did what you asked. I stayed away."
I stayed away.
Oh, that's right.
So,
You're right.
Oh yeah, no. He knew. He just didn't recognize that it was David.
Right. Yes.
He beat the shit out of him. He's like, "Is that David?"
See, I thought he might have found out after the kid was born, because he just said I left her. She was pregnant.
I have no problem if that is any sort of minor retcon that he knew while she was pregnant. Whatever. That's okay.
No, but you're right.
Whoa,
He
whoa,
did.
whoa,
He
whoa.
did say, I did what you said. I stayed away. I remember that.
Here's what I don't understand in Star Trek lore. How did he have a first officer if he's just a lieutenant?
Say it again. How is he a
Kirk
first
said,
officer?
No, he said to whoever he was talking to, number one, he goes, "Oh, my first officer was blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Wait, he's not a captain. How can he? Maybe he's the first officer of the Farragut he's referring to."
Yes.
He
Yes.
personally does not have a number one reporting to him. He just says, "Oh, my first officer on the Farragut." I'm like, "Wait, he's not the captain."
But I thought
he was the first officer on the.
he is the first, and that confused me too because, well, no, it would make sense then because there was no first officer for him to shadow. You would think prior to being a first officer, he would shadow somebody, but I guess not. And again, just season 2 in general, too much fucking Jim Kirk in this goddamn show.
Well, did you notice his name is special guest star?
Yeah.
In the opening credits, they put him right up front. It's
I
like,
understand.
why?
Yeah.
That's weird.
But that doesn't make it better. It's still too much. And also, it drives me nuts again that everyone calls him James. And finally, La'an calls him Jim. And it's like a surprise. And it's like, that's why it's an alternate universe. Because Shatner's Kirk, and I believe Pine's Kirk, Jim.
Jim.
Don't.
What did his brother call him?
I believe Jim.
Did he?
And that whole, also, it's a shame that we didn't get a song with the two Kirks talking about sibling rivalry. That was kind of a missed opportunity.
Hell, you should have wrote this show.
Oh, good Lord, no, not this.
Mom liked me best, but
exactly
plunged right into a spaceship and died.
But yeah, there's, as Langley says, I don't want this show to become TOS, and it's like, yeah, man, you sprinkle like much less Kirk, but also the whole La'an Kirk thing. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the chemistry.
No,
I'm not saying, I'll even concede that Chapel and Spock had a level of chemistry between them. And speaking of Chapel and Spock, man, that was a fast, all right, we kissed. We obviously got down. I got a goofy smile on my face. I'm trying to be more human. Back off, Spock. I don't want you part of my life. The last couple episodes. And it's like, Wayne, I'm sure, would say, forgive me, Wayne, for putting words in your mouth while you're not here. But, well, they only have 10 episodes. They got to get through this stuff fast. I think it's too fast. And if anything, I would have stretched it out more. I do like that she's going away.
Yes,
with
Dr.
Roger
Corby.
I am Roger Corby.
Who I always thought was spelled with a C, but it's a K now.
Oh, no, I always read it as K in books and things like that, but whatever. But yeah, I just I felt like both the La'an Kirk thing, I didn't feel it, and then Chapel and Spock, it's like, didn't they just kiss like 2 episodes ago, and now all of a sudden she's kind of an asshole. If she really wanted Spock, she kissed him, they got down, and it's like, yeah, no, never mind. I don't think it's that cold, but it certainly leans that way. And then of course, emo Spock, I'm the ex, I'm singing about how Chapel rejected me.
Yeah. Well, maybe he didn't get down and all funky with the.
That's right.
The Spockness.
Yeah, you knock on.
Sometimes
Chapel,
there's no chemistry in SAC. They just.
Yeah, maybe Spock underperforms.
Maybe it wasn't Pon Far and he couldn't get it up.
Well, Rob Burnett always says Vulcans probably were incredibly proficient at sex, whether it's Pon Far or not, because they're so logical and they know all the ins and outs. If you
they know how to please the person. I always thought they had barbed
and outs.
I thought they had a barbed penis like a cat, and when they get in there, it's like, wow, like that.
It hooks in, and you just don't let go.
And then they scream.
Ribbed for Chapel's pleasure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow.
That's hilarious. Langley goes,
a couple hundred viewers.
I'm glad to have La'an free to date someone else like me, damn it. Christina Chong is absolutely gorgeous. She is very lovely.
Okay, so, but...
is she related to Tommy Chong?
No.
But later on in the original series, how come Kirk never brings up the fact that Khan is like, oh yeah, I almost stooped your long lost... I
banged your granddaughter.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Because again, more proof that this is a different universe, or like I told you guys, Franco hasn't been there. My solution is maybe you heard this in a previous episode, Franco, that a temporal agent is going to show up at the end of this series and say, La'an, you don't belong in this timeline anymore. And she leaves. But like that watch that she seems to still have from the time travel episode will still be left behind. So the fans will know she existed, but everyone on Pike's Enterprise will forget that she existed.
Going to show up and say, just watch. What's smuggled in your grandfather Khan's ass?
Like everybody on the Discovery doesn't exist anymore, right?
Just like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Crap.
Thank God.
Crap. No, I again, with enough warning from the rumor of, I think they might be doing a musical. Oh no, they're definitely doing a musical. Well, we got it. And Franco and Wayne can sit on their little musical party and enjoy it. That's fine.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I would never want. I'm like, why did you do this?
We should have a watch party.
How about we can't orchestrate enough time to do it together.
Yeah, Johnny would kill us all.
How about the Klingon
popcorn
not singing opera, which would have been obvious to me, especially if you're doing a musical. And instead, we got poor man's Belle Biv DeVoe. And apparently, one of those Klingons from the Ready Room, they said it was Bruce Horrick. It was Hemmer.
Oh, really?
Oh, was it?
Wow, that's kind of cool.
So, Mr. Vic is right. The Klingons were a K-pop band. Yep.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
They made choices.
I beat you to it, Langley. The Klingon captain was actually Bruce Horwick. That's right.
There you go.
So, Jinx.
Well, it was definitely a gimmick episode up there, like when MASH had the little clock in the corner and they had to do it. And then the guy couldn't talk and they did the POV thing and the camera was just watching. I mean, they're all fine episodes, but it's kind of like, you guys running out of shit already that you got to go for these gimmick stuff? Because when I see gimmicks, I'm thinking, they're going for those special 3D comic.
I don't think it's necessarily gimmicks. I think they're just having fun.
I'm not watching Star Trek to have fun. I'm watching Star Trek to find a meaning to my life.
Well, honestly, again, that's a much crueler way of what I think too. It's the Reese's thing. I don't want peanut butter in my chocolate. I just want my chocolate, please. Ooh, and they've shown they're capable of doing it. At least a handful of the writers are. But and you're right, Franco. I'm sure that is the case, that they're just trying to have fun, and attract a wider audience. Yeah. Like like Mitch's wife and your wife and everything, Sharon and Yvette. But yeah, it's like no. They're not going to stick around for that shit.
Fuck, my wife watches Hallmark movies, for God's sakes, and she wasn't going to watch this shit. They should do a Star Trek Hallmark movie. Wait, isn't that what Nurse Chapel is already?
Yeah. They are.
Romantic, yeah.
Yeah.
What else could I say about it? I don't know. It was in color. Are they saving a lot of money on not doing any sets this week? I mean, they haven't really gone any planets, really, this year, have they?
Well, we had the MASH unit. We had the Klingon outpost.
We had the thing on the star with Boimler.
Yeah, but that was just like a set.
Yeah, that's an easy set. Well, here's another.
Well, aren't they using that Mandalorian?
The volume.
The volume.
Yeah. I think they're using the engine room, because I think whenever they show the engine room, that big wall behind them, I go, "Oh, that's one of those fucking projection things there." Carol Kane didn't do shit again.
Well, just as when we review the season, her lack of just being there, being cute for 2 minutes each episode that she's in is kind of disappointing. I would have liked a bit more from her, because I know what kind of talented actress she is. Yeah. But that's not her fault. That's the writers. But also, I was going to say, in the 8th episode, M'Benga's got that wall of Klingon weapons.
Yeah.
And speaking of being cheap, like, are those weapons all in sickbay? And is that the right place to display all those Klingon weapons? Because
maybe he does surgery.
He's a warrior.
Well, I get that, but also, like, wouldn't you maybe have that stuff in private in your own quarters as opposed to just being on the wall in sickbay? I don't know. It just looked.
No, I think it works medically, because if you don't get better, he's going to fucking kill you.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know.
It works on a medical level.
Whatever.
I don't know.
I really like M'Benga. You know, it's crazy. I was watching the Ready Room with him, and I'm kind of like wishing that they didn't give him the accent, because it's kind of like when Don Cheadle plays the British guy in the Ocean 11 movies, where it's like, just be Don Cheadle, just be
Oh,
Babs, man.
he doesn't
Is
speak
Mabenga
with an
not
accent?
not
No,
Yeah.
he's got a very American accent,
I
or
thought that was
Canadian. I
his,
don't know.
I
I
thought
know
that
he
was
has.
his voice.
I know he has an Afrikaans a name as far as
Yeah.
his name, but no. And it's like,
Oh.
we'd understand your dialogue much better if you just were, Babs and not trying so hard to be African.
I
But
did not know that.
whatever, it's
Did not
fine.
know that.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Mike says, remind me not to attend Franco's hospital. So,
Well,
Langley
you're
says,
either going to get better or you're not.
Langley says, I'm just glad Carol Kane isn't Scotty, because I imagine they almost threw him into the. I imagine they almost threw him into the show. Also, Langley says, regarding Mbenga's accent, that the original Mbenga didn't have an accent. No, he did not.
No, not back then. No.
Yeah. So I don't. Oh, that Mr. Vick says, my dentist has in his exam room floor to ceiling with Tampa Bay lighting. It's a little different than having your war memorabilia.
Yeah.
I used this knife to kill 50 Klingons. Okay. Yeah. And again, the goddamn transporter buffer. That's Mbenga's solution to everything. Put him in the buffer.
But
and
that's like if you're in the dentist office and he's got Tampa Bay, that's one thing. If he's got a flamethrower and you're thinking he might use that on your mouth, then you got problems.
Or severe hooks and knives that could potentially go in your mouth. Exactly. All right, open wide. Why?
What are you gonna do?
Exactly. Don't you dare put me under the gas. I can't trust you.
I want to stay awake.
Just drill, baby, drill. Oh my God.
It's not painful like watching Discovery, which that was a chore.
No.
But it's just kind of a disappointment every week. I get up, I watch on Thursday. Okay.
I do think, based on the clip that I saw, it's Full Metal, the Gorn War. I think they're gonna, give us a traditional finale.
Yeah,
so that's good.
But they gotta wait. We don't know how long. Like another 2 years. We don't know when the fuck this is.
Well, yeah. Back. I mean, Mitch, they were shooting.
They were filming,
season 3 before the strike.
That's right.
But I know they didn't finish.
No, they did not.
And I don't know. Maybe they'll break up the season in 2 parts. I honestly don't know. And again, God, I was talking to Anthony Michael Hall about the strike, and he, like all of us, are like, I really think it's gonna last at least till the end.
Yeah, till November. I've heard till November and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I heard they were talking yesterday. I heard that on the news.
Well, no, they were talking. It was the Writers Guild, not the actors.
Writers, not the actors.
And you think about they've been on strike longer than the actors have, and they're just coming to the table for the first time.
I know.
I know. Langley says, speaking of Discovery, does anyone know why they're delaying season 5 until 2024?
They probably have nothing.
Yeah, agreed.
And they know it.
And yes, and that's the other reason too, is that Lower Decks is more popular than Discovery. Strange New World is more popular than Discovery.
Can you imagine that? Jeez,
and you could keep making Lower Decks because the animation doesn't have a problem with the SAG union. So if worse comes to worse, they can make more animated Trek.
Sure.
I did like that in the crossover episode where he's like, "What the hell is in this drink?" when they're all cartoons.
Oh yeah.
That made me laugh. I was like, "That was funny."
Why is my arm moving weirdly? Yeah. Yes. No, it was again. They warned us, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but they're like, "Okay, we're going to do a comedy." Okay, great.
Well, and because we couldn't do the panels because of the writers and the actors strike, and we respected their request not to talk about shows in the public, I did ask Mr. Frakes about certain directing choices he did when he showed. Poor guy just gets there on Friday. First thing, we're about to do the show. I go, okay, before you go out there, I gotta ask, when Spock and Boimler put their heads around that, that thing when they were doing the experiment and it blew up, and it was a very funny thing. I go, was that scripted or is that pure Frakes? He goes, oh no, that was us on the set because it was so funny doing the direction, and that's the stuff they left in. And he was telling me that. I see, I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. I didn't want to upset the union, and God knows we all rip from the earth and plunge into the sun. I just wanted to know a direction choice. Like, how did you direct that? Did you do? And then the camera angle that was over the table that had them all standing around was a very interesting choice. And he's telling me how many hours they set up. And I'm like, you know what? I know I respect their right to strike. I respect what they're trying to do in the cause. But you know what? It was just little nerdy stuff like that wasn't going to change anything and promote the studio. I just want to know how the man directed an episode, but we couldn't talk about stuff. So I feel bad for the fans in that way that they couldn't ask them about, hey, how did you do that? And I asked him, when the actors showed up, did you tell them to make broad choices because they're animated like Jack Quaid, but now they're not. They're in the physical realm. So do you broad strokes and let me go, you know what I mean? Because you're not a cartoon. It's not Roger Rabbit.
Right.
So he was telling me what they talked about and how they direct. It was very interesting to talk to John Frakes about being a director, and especially on Star Trek. And he's known about it for 30-something years, so he knows what Trek is supposed to look like.
Sure.
And I mean, it was such a great time to talk to that guy.
I was talking to him about the Thunderbirds movie that he directed.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's
I forgot he directed that.
And that was his first directorial out of the gate after Trek. And I'm like, and I said, I had my doubts about that movie, like, because I remember Thunderbirds. I'm like, how are they going to make this live action?
Yeah.
And then I heard you were directing, and I was like, oh man, I admitted to him that I was really disappointed that he was named as director. But I'm like, man, you really turned me around on that movie, and I really like that movie a lot.
No, and my son's friend who just graduated film school out of Temple University, he was his guy at the table, his assistant all weekend, and he was like, how did you get the name Two Takes Frakes? And he talked about that because you think to be more efficient and, just get it done in one take. That's what you want because you're on a studio and you're on a TV show and you want to work fast, But when he went to the Star Trek First Contact, it's a movie. It's not a TV show. And the studio producers are putting a lot of money into this stuff. So even though you got it on the first take, they want a second take just because, let's see what else you got. And even though it might be perfect, he had to do the Two Takes Frakes, they call them. And Patrick Stewart, they worked together. So they got it all the first time. But they're like, can we just do it again, Patrick? And I'm like, really? Yeah, we gotta have two for the studio. So they literally would go and do a whole other take of every scene, even though it was perfect the first time. They would have to do two takes. So Two Takes Frakes is what they call them. He's just a great guy. I mean, full of stories.
I didn't want to, because having interviewed him at length last year, having met him at Fan Expo Chicago last year, and knowing that I was going to have access thanks to you, Mitch.
Jonathan Frakes came out and goes, that John guy stalking me,
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to avoid. I'm like, I'm like, hi, John. John such as where he's like, oh no, I remember you. All right, he was very sweet, but I'm like, okay, limit your time talking to Frakes because you don't want to be Kathy Bates.
He'd be like, what is he doing here now?
Yeah, why is he here?
But the great thing was the one little thing he told me, and it's a shame, Mitch, because I'm like, I was really looking forward to moderating your panels.
Yeah.
I said, but with and like you said, Mitch, I'm like, I'm a SAG member. I totally understand what's going on. And he goes, we did do a show since the strike began, and we did a panel. And he goes, of course, we didn't talk about Trek or studio stuff, but we played games and we did all this other stuff. And he goes, I wish Mitch had let me know, because I would have suggested to him.
Oh, son of a bitch. We joked about doing the Newlywed Game because I had Frakes was with Jeannie Francis, his wife. We had Jerry O'Connell with Rebecca Romaine. And honestly, you could read this article about it. I joked that we also had Michael Biehn and his wife, Jennifer Blankbean. And I had Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. I had Walt and Louise Simonson.
Yes.
I had Holly and Jim Ballant over there.
Yeah,
I said
done it.
We could do a Newlywed Game type of, just to have fun with the
audience. That would have been hilarious. And
everyone's like, oh, they're not going to go for that. Knowing him now and how much of a joker he was, and this guy was a prankster. He would have gone along with it if I said, 100%. Hey, let's get you up there and said, what was the first place you made out? If you were on board a starship, what would be the last place you'd want to bang or I'm sorry, hang out or make love,
Make
whatever.
whoopee.
Make whoopee as a Bob
Eubanks would
Eubanks.
say.
If you had to make whoopee on Warp 10, and where would you go? Which planet
We
would it
would
be?
come up with funny questions.
It
Absolutely.
would have been fun, but I got to tell you, here's the problem. Oh, so secretive. Oh, don't even look at them. Oh, we don't want to get. And I'm like, all right. I don't want to get
Well,
anybody in
we
trouble.
know better for next time.
Yeah, I know, but but Sean Gunn did a panel that he talked about the strike. He explained it like to everybody there. This is what we're strike. This is what it means. But he would answer a question if somebody came up and said, what was it like working with your brother? And everyone was cautious. But Mike Cutlets, he did a panel, and they came on. They didn't talk about The Walking Dead, but they talked about their influences and what's like to work in hot Georgia, and and Sean Flannery actually showed up at our panel, which we were just going to do an Indiana Jones retrospective,
which is awesome.
And he was like, you know what, man, I got that job when I was 20-something years old, 30 years ago. I went around the world, and he was just telling us all the stories about they filmed in this place, and there was hippos in the water, and hippos are the most dangerous animal in the world apparently, and they were trying to kill him, and then he fell down the stairs here, and he was getting shot. I mean, the guy just had stories after stories about all these elaborate locations, and I think the fans missed out a little bit on that because
you know what? You could make it up to them next year
if they're not on strike next year.
Yeah,
they won't be.
What are the dates again? Let's start hyping in that.
August 16th to the 18th. We will, and Andrew Robinson hopefully will be with us next year because unfortunately there was an illness in his family, so he had to take off and couldn't be there this week. But people were looking for him. Okay, Anthony Michael Hall goes, hey, where's the guy from Dirty Harry? I said, oh, he couldn't make it. Somebody was sick. Oh, I wanted to meet him. Sean Patrick Flannery. Hey, is the Dirty Harry guy here? I'm like, no. It's so funny to see the actors looking for other actors.
Yeah.
And I saw Terry Farrell come over and talk to Anthony Michael Hall. Then I realized Anthony Michael Hall was on the Dead Zone for years with Sean Flannery for like 5 seasons because he played the Martin Sheen character from the Dead Zone movie. So it's just weird watching them all get together. And
Terry Farrell was just
amazing,
so sweet and amazing.
Yes, we got photos, and I want to show them while we're talking.
Nice as could be. Everybody was nice this year. There wasn't one bad apple in the whole group.
That's great to hear, man.
Except Franco.
Except Franco, he's a dick.
Dick.
But here, God, we were all in the green room. Wayne had left already, but we were all in the green room, and suddenly Mitch says, "Oh God, Frakes is about to start his photo shit."
Yeah.
And first of all, we got this photo, and Mitch very artfully pumped Wayne. Spirit of Wayne. I know why I'm not smiling. I never smile. But that's
my wife asked who you were. She said, "Who's that guy?"
That guy.
I said, you know the guy I go downstairs and talk to in the basement? She's like, yeah. I go, that's him. She goes, oh God.
Oh, I like meeting Sharon. She was lovely.
You don't look happy. You look like we're holding you hostage.
Did you
show at least you're smiling there, but the other one you look like somebody.
I know. I don't know why. I was tired or whatever. But I do. That's Paul Kupperberg, and Mitch pasted Wayne's face on there.
Yeah, so. Wayne missed a thing, and I missed Wayne. I'm like, oh man, I wish Wayne was here.
We all said that.
Yeah.
Oh, like, oh, God damn it! But he left.
I'm surprised we have our badges on because Frakes flipped out on people because my sister came by to get a picture, and she had a staff badge. He goes, "Get that badge off! I don't want to ruin the photo with those stupid badges." I'm like, "Wait a minute!" And I just looked.
Yeah, but with him, he probably thought it was us, and these morons could keep their badge on. I don't care. Did you show my? Do you have my every photo? Yeah. Do you have my remarque of the photo of the three of us, Johnny?
Oh yeah, put that up about our true identities.
Yeah.
What's which one? Hold on.
The one with the writing all over it.
It was in Facebook when he marked it up about.
Oh yeah. Is that? It's in the chat, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought I put it in there, but
all right, hold on, because I'm going to go to the chat.
I was talking to Terry Farrell and. When you show the picture, you'll see that she's a very statuesque lady. She's very tall.
Oh my God,
about 6 feet tall. Yeah.
When I was talking to her, she said, "You're one of the first people that hasn't remarked on how tall I am." Yeah. And I'm like, "That's because I stand like a foot over you. I never remark on how tall." And I said, "But do people ever ask you like they ask me? Do can you get that off the top shelf when you're in the grocery store? And she goes, yeah, I laugh, but then I help because I want to be helpful. I'm like, I was telling her to help me with something off the bottom shelf.
Yeah.
And that made her laugh.
She was so nice. And it's so funny because, my God, look at how great she looks. But
she's a hugger. She's a hugger.
I'm aware. And she was incredibly nice to squeeze me for a minute. But I go, well, I'm older than you. And all of a sudden she's like, you're not older than me.
No,
Why would you say that?
No, you're not.
And I'm like, well, I'm 58. She goes, I'm 59. And I'm like, all right. I just kind of assumed because I've always seen you as, when you were younger. And I go, well, you're wearing it a hell of a lot better than I am. So way to go.
See,
so here's a great shot of Franco and Artie with Frakes.
I had to book everyone's airline flights. I know how old they are. Let me see.
There's Dan Housen from AEW, of course.
There he is.
There's Sean, and who's that with Sean?
Is that that girl from?
That's Jason May's daughter. She happened to be with me.
Oh, that's Jason May's daughter.
Yeah, I went up and introduced her. She was freaking out about Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn.
So, yeah.
Great shot of Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There, everybody.
That's a Tuma.
Yes, it is.
Not the Tuma. Oh, yeah, it is a Tuma.
No, he was great from Wakanda Forever. Absolutely. And he ended up hanging with Artie, Chucky, and me on the limo to the casino.
Oh,
and I go, and I look at him and I'm like, well, obviously you're an actor. I go, what have you been in? And he goes, well, I was in a little movie called Wakanda Forever. I haven't finished seeing it yet. And I'm like, oh, are you Namor? And he said, no, actually, I'm Atuma. And of course, we all know Atuma from the comics. So literally, the three of us are like, Atuma, that's great, man. And we were just dying. And then the whole weekend, we kept running into him. And we're like, Atuma, how you doing? Very good. And he had a blast. He had a great time, which was terrific. There's a nice picture. Very good.
Frakes.
Very nice. Another one, Frakes. Very good. Here we go.
I had to mark it up.
Eating chips loudly.
Yeah.
Klingon type.
Stupid. Stupid. Sort of Pike hair. And of course, me without smiling, I'm an angry Vulcan. Angry Yoko.
Right there. Not smiling. Sharon goes, why is he so angry again? No, he's always like that.
Great picture of Rebecca and Jerry with Mitch. Very cool.
Yeah.
Another one of you and Frakes. Very good.
That's a crop one.
And
there
Rebecca.
she is. Yes. I think
so lovely. Really, her and Farrell were just so beautiful and so charming. I had to hold my crap together.
Oh my!
I love that picture. That's awesome.
That's fantastic that you did that. Yeah.
And then
Wayne.
Wayne's
So these are Wayne shots from Star Trek Las Vegas.
Stay nerdy. Who's that woman?
We think it's Tilly. We're not sure.
It is Tilly.
Okay.
That's Tilly. Oh my God, she's there.
Yeah. And this is from Christina Chong's CD.
Oh, okay.
And Wayne had her sign that, which is great. And then he met Marlena from the Mirror Mirror.
Oh, Mirror. She's still alive?
Oh, yeah. And then even better, Ilan of Troyos.
Oh, I always liked her. She was in a bunch. She was in Planet of the Apes, wasn't she? One of those movies.
No, no, excuse me.
Yeah, she was in the one underneath.
She was a mutant. You're absolutely right. Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Absolutely.
Healthy mutants.
She made a lot of TV and movies in the 60s and 70s. She was married to Robert Culp.
Really?
Yep.
I
she's
did not know that.
She's a Vietnamese actress. Yes.
Huh.
Francine Yu is her name. And the great Ilan of Troyos. Yeah. So Wayne's having a great time. Which is good. He deserves it.
Cool.
I'm annoyed that he didn't take us, honestly.
And what are you gonna do?
But what are you gonna do? Right.
And Mike's right.
Too many shows.
Right. Mike is right. Wayne's very busy by the look of it. Absolutely, he is.
Yes, Wayne is a busy man. He got me some cool stuff because he just gone to San Diego the week before. Wayne was at San Diego Comic-Con.
And I saw him there, because I was there too.
Yep. And then my show. Now Wayne's over at Start in Vegas.
After this weekend, he's going to collapse for a few days.
I was going to say that's a lot of traveling.
So yeah. What else did I read or hear about Trek-wise? Andy Robinson's book on tape came out on Tuesday. So if you've ever read A Stitch in Time, which was the DS9 book that he wrote 20 years ago, he finally did the audio performance for it.
Nice.
And it's available now on Audible. So that's out there. I'm really curious, and I hope Wayne goes to some comic book panels, because the IDW Star Trek event has already begun, the Day of Blood, and the first issue came out, I believe, the week of San Diego.
Yeah, I got that one.
And I'll be talking to more IDW Trek writers in the weeks ahead, because I kind of firmed that up with Mark Doyle, the publisher of IDW. So, yeah.
Do you think Quark would be a good guest next year? I'm already going through the guest
I
list.
love that guy.
Yes,
Yeah,
because not only
he finished so many other things as well. Yeah,
Beauty and the Beast, Buffy.
He was on Seinfeld. He played the
caddy. Right.
Caddy, yeah.
Oh no, great character actor.
No, because I'm thinking if I get Garrick to come in next year, hopefully everything's okay. You kind of want to get people from a show, and hopefully we can do panels again.
Yes, please.
So it would be get Quark, get Garrick. You're not going to get Colmini. No. Maybe Bashir. I don't know. He'd be a good guest.
It would be. I don't know if
get Morn.
I think Bashir is L.A. I don't think.
No, it doesn't make a difference where they're from. I'm just saying. Okay. Have they done shows? I mean, I can get.
No, he does shows all the time.
Nana Visitor. I've met her. She's very nice.
That'd be great to get a Nana Visitor. Yeah.
Maybe her and Quark, because there was such good chemistry with the different characters. So if you
yes,
Odo's gone. I've had Odo.
Yeah, that's such
and it is kind of funny. I think about it. I'm not going to get Avery Brooks anymore, but he doesn't do shows. But I had Odo one year, and I had. Chase Masterson, who was Leela.
Sure, Leela.
And then why not get some Ferengis?
Or get.
And I just had Jeffrey Combs, who was at the show, who was a Ferengi. He's on every Star Trek. He was there.
Oh, shame on me, because I do have a couple more pictures. So
Did you talk to him at all?
Oh, absolutely. I was smiling for him.
He's got stories.
Couple more, and yeah, he was incredibly kind. The real MVP of all the Trek people. Jerry O'Connell.
Oh yeah, he was,
because he didn't have it. You guys know
he wasn't even at the show technically.
Right,
I know. And the thing of is that what sucks. I knew he was going to be there. I mean, that was the thing. But they were like, well, they wanted. It's all Rebecca was the main star,
right?
So you don't want to take away too much from that. So he showed up. I knew he was coming. I even had a banner made for him backstage. We were going to hang it up, but they said no. And he gave out free autographs. And he did free selfies, and he walked her line while people were waiting in line for Rebecca.
Yeah, he was like the mayor of that whole section back there.
He's working the line.
He worked the line,
While people were waiting to meet Rebecca, he's walking up and down the line and shaking hands and taking photos. And Chucky and I are in the green room, just minding our own business, talking. And maybe I looked up at him. I don't know, but out of nowhere, he just walks up to our table and he's like, "How you guys doing? I'm Jerry." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was going to come out and say hello to you." And he goes, "Well, you can do it now." And I'm like, "Great." So we talked, and what a champ.
No, he was really cool.
So sweet. And he's like, "Yeah, this is the green room, I think."
Yeah, and we had the fan groups like the 501st and all that stuff, but we had a local Connecticut Star Trek fan club, and they were in the beginning when you walked in, and they're all in their Starfleet uniforms, and they're trying to recruit people to join up to Starfleet. So I walked in with him. And they were all looking at Rebecca Romaine when she came by, but they didn't even think about Jerry. And he goes, "Hey guys, what about me? I'm Ransom on Lower Decks." And they were, they're all freaking out. Oh my God, it's him, So
absolutely.
And then the two of them worked well because she came by later and hung out with the Star Trek group and took pictures with everybody. But
here's the three of them hanging out.
Yeah, there they are. The three number ones. I got an autograph from all three of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you forgot to mention the other Mr. Spock was there.
I was about to do it, and I've got a photo. I don't know if people listening or watching have ever watched Star Trek Continues. Vic Mangora. I never know how to say his last name.
He's Kirk.
Right.
Magnolia?
Something like that. It's almost like Mike Mignola, but it's not. It's got this. But Todd Haberkorn was at the show because he's a big animation guy. But in 11 fan film episodes of Star Trek Continues, he played Mr. Spock.
That's right.
So there's a picture of Ms. Spock, and I had to go up and tell him how much I appreciated his performance as Spock, because he did 11 hours as Spock. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
And was a very credible Spock on this show. Really, really good. So it's a pleasure meeting him.
So if you had to rank him, was it is he Zachary Quinto level, or is he?
I think he's better
Peck?
than Zachary Quinto. Frankly.
Wow.
So it's
Well-
Nimoy, Peck, Todd Habercorn,
And
and
Quinto.
then Quinto, whatever his name is.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Hmm.
And it's not Quinto's fault. It's just that
Bad
again,
scripts.
they made him too emotional, in my opinion. And making Spock that emotional, Spock disappears. It's the same problem I have this year,
Yeah.
turning him human and all that BS.
Yeah.
Another gimmick episode, by the way, Francis. Sorry, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm enjoying Star Trek this year.
You go ahead. So
You're not going to stop me. I'm going to continue. You're not going to
that's
stop
fine.
me.
Can't
Oh,
stop
and,
him from liking it.
Yeah, Langley says some of the best Trek fan stuff. I completely agree. God, they stunt cast. What's her face from Buck Rogers? Aaron Gray.
Aaron Gray?
Aaron Gray played an admiral on one episode.
Oh, my friend Aaron Gray. Huh?
The Doctor Who companion to Colin Baker that we all fell in love with.
Perry. The actress that plays her is
Yeah. No.
The
Yeah,
American.
it was Perry. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of her. real
Nicola
name.
Brown.
Nicola Brown. Absolutely. Bryant.
Ryan.
Yeah. She's in one. She's in a two-parter near the last two episodes of Star Trek Continues, and she has the same telekinesis powers that Gary Mitchell and Dr. Daner had in Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Did you notice the ensign on the Enterprise now is named Mitchell? I'm like,
Yes, I did notice
are
that.
they going to flip that and that's going to become
Good Lord, I hope not.
Gary Mitchell because they're going
No,
to do it as a woman?
I think it's just a last name, and I hope they don't do that because
Well,
Gary Mitchell.
what if Kirk bumped into her and said, "Oh, Gabriella Mitchell, what are you doing here?"
Well, but she's also Asian.
yeah,
Kind of like how Clint Howard's character had a Hispanic last name, and it's like Clint Howard is so apple pie Americana that I'm like, why'd you give him a Spanish last name? But yeah, Mitchell too, being an Asian lady, they better not make her Gary Mitchell.
I've been thinking about it because she's got the same job as he did, and I'm like,
it made me nervous.
odds?
Well, but the thing is, Gary, if they're following, and it's more novel canon than it is TV canon. Gary came along with Kirk from the Farragut or the Constitution or one of their other previous ships.
Right.
And no, they've been best friends since the Academy.
It's just a lot of names.
And that's why Where No Man Has Gone Before has that kind of tough story, because it's like, no, this is my friend. Like, Spock, you're asking me to kill my best friend. I can't do that.
No, there's just a lot of names in the world, but why pick on that's a small pocket of names? Like, you can get like something else. Call her Ensign Yeager or something, Ensign Grissom or whatever.
But God only knows, man. The guy that was running the transporter was Lieutenant Kyle.
Yes,
just like the original series.
And you don't think that's supposed to be the same guy? I do.
I have no idea. Well, he's not on the ship anymore, and TOS Kyle was.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What about the guy that used to sing the songs?
Lieutenant Riley.
Riley, that's it.
And Riley was on the planet where Kodos the Executioner.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. When the Kodos came, yeah.
But he was also in the Naked Now. That's when he sings.
But that doesn't.
I will take you home, Kathleen.
But Kodos doesn't exist on this show.
What do you mean?
Because Kirk and his brother don't talk about being from that.
Well,
colony.
again, that's why it might be an alternate universe.
Right.
I mean, it's they can't help the. Oh no, it's canon. Oh no, this is the Prime Universe. No, it's not. No, you keep changing shit. Sorry. And the problem is, and I was thinking about it today. It's like because again, I obsess about Star Trek every goddamn day.
Every day.
It's
every
sad
day.
but true. I admit it. It's a disease. I think the first sign of healing is admitting you've got a problem. But I was thinking to myself, unless through AI or that they pay Shatner, $500,000 to dub in, well, Khan was around in the 2020s. As opposed to when they're talking about how Khan was in the 1990s.
1990s, yeah.
I'm sorry, those episodes exist, and that is a difference. And you can say, "Oh, we pushed the timeline." Yeah, F you. You effed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a different universe.
Happy
Like it or
thoughts.
not,
Happy thoughts.
well, again,
Think
that's what
happy
keeps me
thoughts.
sane. Where it's like, I knew I wasn't crazy, but
Oh yeah.
I am crazy. Let's
Oh, you are.
Did you see the old-fashioned Star Trek arcade game I brought in just for you, Johnny?
Oh,
The one from
Mitch,
1980 something.
Mitch, I was so happy to play that game.
Did you play it?
Of course I did. I
All
haven't
right,
played it.
because I didn't get a chance to
I
do
was-
any of the arcade games. I paid thousands of dollars to bring pinball machines and all that, and I didn't play once. And
You
my
know,
wife
Mitch,
asked,
that
"What the
room was
fuck?"
Why don't
always
you pay an
happening.
extra $50 and have them brought in the day before, or leave them a day after so you can play them all day?
I know,
long?
honestly, I was like, I had the whole place to myself. Once you guys leave, I should have just turned the electricity on and played that Star Trek game. But was it
No,
fun?
I saw them taking
Oh my
those things
God.
out real quick, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't. It was right next to the old Star Wars game where
it
you're
was
doing
the Star Wars
Luke's
cockpit.
run
Yeah.
on the Death Star. Remember, the Force
Yep.
is with you always. But I was afraid I was too fat to fit into the captain's chair,
come
but I
on.
wasn't. Thank God. I no, and really like I'm like, do you want to play? He's like, no, I don't want to play, but I'll watch you. I'm like, Chuck,
Oh.
I haven't played this game in at least 30 years, if not longer. It might have been since the 80s. I loved that game when I was a kid. And it's, if people don't remember, I believe it came out around the time of Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And yeah, you sit in the captain's chair and you fire phasers and photon torpedoes on Klingon ships, and then you get more energy if you dock at a starbase and stuff. But it's totally a classic 8-bit game.
Oh yeah, the graphics. Yeah.
Very simple. But oh man, it's goddamn Star Trek. Of course I played that game.
All
Oh,
right.
I love that game. Mitch, I was so happy. Seriously, I'm like, oh, this is the arcade. Oh my God, they got Star Trek. And it's free. Oh my God.
I can attest to this because within the first 5 minutes of seeing Johnny, he goes, "Hey, do you know they got the Star Trek?" I'm like, "All right, Johnny, I'm literally just walking in the door here. You gotta
No,
give me a
there was an Avengers pinball machine I wanted to play, but I didn't get a chance to. That looked good.
And a
And
next gen pinball machine.
I brought a next gen. I brought a Batman pinball in. I brought a couple other movie ones in. Just
I played
to
the
make
Batman one, and I played the Star Trek pinball
They're
while I
all-
was waiting. While I was waiting for the kids panel.
Oh, that's
that I
right.
was
The kids
doing.
thing was there. Yeah.
They're all next to this great virtual reality setup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, F that, man. I'm playing Star Trek.
And then they had the people doing the Jedi Knight training over there with the lightsabers.
Yes.
I watched that. The adult stuff. I mean, little kids, it's funny, but when you saw the adults over there with their sabers, like, you know, yeah, they had a Yoda meditation chamber.
Yep.
Over there too.
Now, Mitch,
that was just to try and get people to be quiet.
What's that?
What's that?
I said that was just them trying to get people to be quiet. Here, come sit in the Yoda meditation center.
It was great. No, another great weekend, Mitch. You did it again.
You did it again, Magoo.
It's true.
I was thinking. I love when as soon as the show's over, I get emails from all these talent agents. And one of them was, "Do you want Eddie Dreesen?" Now, if you don't know who Eddie Dreesen is, and you saw the movie 1941, he was the guy with the puppet, and he's been in some other films. But
yeah, I want to hold your hand. The Beatles.
Yeah, no, but he was in the papers not too long ago, like a year or two ago, where a judge found him mentally unfit because he had gotten in some legal trouble. And I sent it to my friend. He goes, "Maybe you could be the guy that brings him back from the edge, and he can have a new career." And I go, "Oh, okay." Eddie Dreesen is going nuts. Hey guys,
he's
in
the last few days. Have you been hit up by people for next year already?
Everybody,
Really?
Are you kidding me?
Really? Wow.
Oh, the list of, is that really count as an actor? I don't know if that counts, but I've gotten some interesting people.
I thought Eddie Deason had passed away. I'm very glad.
No, he's still alive.
Yes,
still. Oh, friend, you managed to kill just about everybody else. But like a poor
but yeah, the Weird Science guys, Anthony Michael Hall and
Elam Mitchell Smith, very nice guy. Yeah. Anthony Michael Hall, who I was so pissed after the show was over, I wanted to talk to him about playing Whitey Ford in one of the greatest baseball movies ever made, 1961, by Billy Crystal, directed it, starring Barry Pepper as Roger Maris and Thomas Jane as Mickey Mantle.
Yep.
And Anthony Michael Hall played Whitey Ford.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk to him, but it's one of those things it's over before you know it.
Well, and it slipped my mind to talk about that, and also he plays Bill Gates in Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Did not know that.
A great TNT made for TV movie. I did have the opportunity because Noah Wyle played Steve Jobs. And when Noah Wyle made that sci-fi show Falling Skies,
yes,
I was on a press junket for that. And, that was a TNT show as well.
Yep.
And
Spielberg,
I, I'm like, hey, man, I certainly hope TNT is thinking about telling more Steve Jobs stories, because it would be great to get you now to kind of finish the Steve Jobs story. And he said, God, I was really proud of that movie. You're absolutely right. And I would love to do that again. And, he had a good relationship with TNT. He's like, when I go back to LA, I got to talk to them about that.
I did not know that he was up for the role of Joker in Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, wow.
And they ended up going with Matthew Modine instead. But Anthony Michael Hall was one of the top.
That's cool.
Candidates. That would have been a different movie.
We talked about The Dead Zone with him, me and Chuck.
Yes.
We caught him on Sunday. We caught both him and Elam on Sunday when they didn't have lines. And both guys talked to us individually for like 10 minutes each. And really, Chucky's like, man, he talked to us for a really long time.
Only guest I've ever had after doing this stuff for 12 years who showed up in a shirt, tie, and jacket, which I told him was a very classy move. He goes, hey, people are spending money to get a photo with you. You might as well look your best.
That's why I dress up at shows.
I honestly, and then I said that to him, and I forgot my razor, and I wasn't shaved. And he goes, and you didn't even shave, Mitch. I go, sorry, forgot my razor.
On Saturday morning before the show opened, Anthony Michael Hall was walking through, and he walked down our aisle, and we talked to him for a little bit. He stopped and chatted. He was fine.
He was the first one in and the last one out. That's
great.
To me, that's great. Didn't have to chase him down.
And I put this up on Facebook. One of the nicest celebrities I've ever met, in all seriousness, is John Wesley Shipp.
Oh, God,
man.
Yeah.
That man is so
know.
nice and so genuine. And I'm like, you know what? I've talked to him now 3 separate times. I'm going to go back and pay for a selfie or get a photograph picture.
Yeah.
I want to support the guy. And then, like, before we knew it, like, time ran out, and I didn't, because I went over there one other time. I'm like, oh, I'll get it now, but he had a line.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll come back later. And then I didn't. But I really just wanted to say that he's like such a nice,
and he'll tell you
guy.
He'll say, I was Mitch's first actor guest, and it's true, when we did the one-day shows down here in at the Trumbull Marriott. So he's been a guest at my show 5 or 6 times, because every couple of years we bring him back, and he always gets long lines because people just love him. He's a very cool guy.
Well, and like Mitch, he's doing those Hallmark movies too.
Yes.
So not only does he get flash photos in Dawson's Creek and all that stuff,
but and soap operas. He's big on soap operas for years.
Yep.
NYPD Blue.
That's why I had to get the photo, and it was me, Mitch, and Sharon and John. We all took a photo in the green room.
My wife took a picture with John.
The 4 of us did. Yeah. It's all right. You did a million things, Mitch. I don't expect
I don't think I ever seen
you
my
were
wife
so busy. We fed her donuts behind our booth as well.
My wife?
Me and Art and Mark, because she looked like she needed some donuts, so we were hanging out with her. Yeah.
I did not know any of this stuff. Usually she never leaves the front desk.
That's great.
It's very odd to see.
No, you guys were in the
My mom actually came down. My mom's been practicing walking around the block because she's got a bad knee. And that walk, I know you don't realize it, but the walk from the front to the back where the actors are, it's got to be a good quarter mile. It's pretty far. Mm-hmm. But when you're 85 years old and you got a bad knee, you're not going to go out there. So she never is going back there. But Ordway drew her a picture of Mary Marvel, who was her favorite character. And she said, I got to go meet Mr. Ordway. So she was in practice and walking around the block. So she made it. She stopped in the video game room, took a break for a while, then got up, and her second win. And Ordway goes, your mom's here. You go, oh, yeah, I know. He goes, no, she's here. She actually walked all the way to the back of the artist alley with the actors to thank him in person for drawing that picture. And I said, Mom, Mary Marvel was right there. You could have said hello to her. But and you know what, Michael Cutlets, that son
I didn't
of
have a chance to meet him.
He comes up and he goes, Mitch, is that your mom? He's from The Walking Dead and Band of Brothers. He's Lex Luthor now.
Right.
On Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
So he goes, is that your mom? I said, yeah. He goes, how old is she? I said, 85. He goes, she's holding up pretty good for an old broad. I'm like, what the fuck? And he goes, if I was 40 years older, I might give it. I go, 40? Come on, bro. Who are you pushing?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
20.
I agree with Mike. Go ahead.
No, so he's talking to my mom and all this stuff, and he's like, "Remember, I was here a couple of years ago." Oh yeah. She's talking to him and this and that. He walks away. She goes, "Who the hell is that?" I go,
Mike Jones, I have a brief story about that. He says the 90s Flash was amazing. Glad the CW Flash show gave his character a proper send-off. And I talked to him, to John for a second as well, and I'm like, got it. I go, listen, I agreed. I'm like, the 90s show was great. I'm so glad they brought you back. You're a fantastic Jay Garrick. And he said, well, I would always tease Grant that Grant got 9 years as the Flash, but I got 10 because of the Flash 90s show. And actually, he got 2 seasons.
He was on Stargirl too a couple times.
Oh God, he wrapped up the show. He and Shade had the last scene.
Yeah,
in the Justice Society.
That's right. That's how it ended. He showed up again. Yeah.
No. John's amazing, and it such great casting of him as Jay Garrick. It was just fantastic.
They should have put him in the Flash movie. Dumbass.
Say it again.
They should have put him in the Flash movie that came out where they did the cameos of all the other actors.
Boy, Franco, thanks for reminding me. I actually got, regarding Star Trek, a really good message from a fan. I gotta find it now. I put it up.
Tell fans how they can leave messages for the show.
On wordballoon.com, on my website, or wordballoon
.com.
Just go to wordballoon.com. You'll get there. There's a great a feature called Speak Pipe. And you can record audio and leave me a message. So, if you like something that I talk about on Word Balloon or on our Trek Watch shows, you can leave it, as this man did from Dallas with a very famous name, but this isn't the Reverend. Here's Jesse Jackson on his thoughts on New Trek.
Hey, John. Jesse Jackson from Dallas, Texas, host of Set Listing Bruce, your podcast all about Bruce Springsteen, his music, and mostly his fans. By the way, would love for you to join me sometime and talk about your musical fandom, whether it's Bruce or another artist. I just wanted to talk to you about Star Trek. I guess I'm in the other stage. I am a 64-year-old. I remember watching the original series, at least the 3rd season, when it was originally, like you, grew up watching reruns in the afternoon. And I've loved the Strange New Worlds. I've loved that the creators are telling good stories and are not handcuffing themselves with a show that ran for 3 seasons and of course has had multiple books and multiple movies. But I like how they're exploring new things and telling new stories. And I get that some people don't agree with it, but just for an alternate view, I just wanted to share that I love listening to your podcast. I enjoy hearing your opinions, especially adore when you get to talk to Brad Meltzer. That's always a highlight every time.
Unfortunately, they'll only allow you to do 90 seconds, so it cut Jesse off. I would love to do Jesse's podcast. I really appreciate the offer to have me on his show. And hey, man, again, and same with Franco, even and Wayne. If you love New Trek, God bless you. That's fantastic. And I don't mean to harsh your enjoyment. Well, Mitch, you and I kind of are on the same boat. We're not.
That boat would have sank.
I was going to say, you and Mitch are never going to be on the same boat.
Shut up, Mitch.
Shut up, asshole.
Never
Stop chewing those chips.
Never asshole. Never asshole.
Hey, I say that. I don't give a fuck. Well, but anyway, I'll go on that guy because look.
I'll stand by.
30 years ago. New York Daily News. Groom wants the boss for his wedding day. It's all about when I invited Bruce Springsteen to play at my band. At my wedding, I mean. When I got married 30 years ago. I'll go on this guy's podcast about Springsteen.
Did he show up for your wedding?
No, he sent his flowers, though.
Oh, did he really send you flowers?
Yes.
That's nice.
But he went to Mariah Carey's wedding down the street when she married this Tommy something. He was like a big record
that
producer.
Lasted for two
it lasted months. And I said, oh, bet you wish you didn't buy a wedding gift for that one, Bruce. That shit went out of business. Yeah. So Springsteen to me. I'm going to see Bruce at Mohegan Sun in a couple of weeks. The rescheduled show because he had COVID.
Wow.
Or somebody had COVID.
I saw him at the Tunnel of Love tour in Indianapolis at Market Square Arena, and it was an amazing show.
That was 1987.
There you go.
Tunnel of Love came out.
Yep.
Just talking about that today. But anyway, yeah, that guy's got a cool podcast. You should go on there, Johnny. And
yeah, I will. No. I'd be happy to. Oh, and a guy.
I'd be happy to yell at him.
No, truly. This British guy, Ed Whitfield, hilarious essays. He's got a WordPress site that he writes his essays on, New Trek, and he kind of agrees with me. And 2 Sundays ago, the Sunday before Terrificon, when I wasn't sure we would do a show, I recorded a show with him Sunday afternoon, and it was Sunday evening, his British time and everything.
Yeah,
and funny as hell. Great articles about Star Trek. Just has a great humorous bent in his reviews. And oh god, he was killing me making fun of the musical where he had a fictional conversation with a Trek staff writer and Akiva Goldsman, like, hey, I came up with an idea. Really? Gee, that's great. We're going to do a musical. Oh, well, my idea was kind of this kind of classic sci-fi moral debate that we could do in Star Trek. Well, that's great, but we're going to do a musical instead. And it's like, yeah, okay, that sounds great. Thanks. So, yeah, what are you going to do? Mike wants to know if you just live at the Mohegan Sun, Mitch.
I could. Then I won't have to pay any taxes. I'll just declare myself as independent because it is a sovereign nation. I'll just stay there. I'll walk around in a bathrobe all day and just live in the suite. Yeah,
that's not far fetched because we were out there in the casino one night and there was a woman just walking around in her bathrobe. So you wouldn't be that far out.
No, she came to the bar. I was with Sean Gunn having drinks at the Waterfall Bar around 2 a.m, and she showed up with her slippers and a black robe on. I was walking around. I was thinking, okay.
Wow.
Mitch is thinking, well, that's one of the people that attends my show right there.
She did. She was in the green room. She was in the green room the next day. She goes, oh, you don't recognize me. Last night I was just wearing a bathrobe and slippers. I go, okay, whatever.
Exactly. All right. Okay.
Last year, Adrian Palicki was doing shots back there. So.
Another beauty. My God. And I guess pretty chaotic Saturday night because Howie Mandel was there doing stand-up.
No, Howie canceled.
He canceled.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because I was wiped from Saturday night. I was going to go down to the sports book and watch Errol Spence and Bud Crawford fight each other after midnight. I didn't do it because I was just too tired. And I'm like, all right, I need to save my strength for Sunday. But we ordered room service dinner. And the lady's like, oh, you're smart to do that because right now, man, the main floor is just crazy right now.
They ran out of food everywhere. They had such big crowds that we went to one place. They were out of hamburger buns for a while. The one restaurant had no new dishes or forks and knives and cutlery because there were so many people there. They had to wait to wash all the dishes again to serve people. It was crazy. There was just so many people there.
Saturday night was when Mitch and I were in the Voodoo Lounge.
That's right. We went up to that place, and then we went and watched Nick, your son, ride a bull for a while.
Yeah, that was harrowing and fun.
Did he enjoy it?
I don't know if he did. We kind of did.
Sure.
Well, I told Sharon, and she goes, "Was Yvette there?" No, because if the mom was there, she would have never let the son ride the bull. I said, he didn't get hurt.
The first thing I said to Mike Pellerito, he was hanging out with us as well. I said, my wife finds out about this, she's going to be not happy.
That's what I said. You better hope he doesn't get hurt.
And you know what instigated him, because he was kind of itching to go up there. But you know what tossed him over the edge is, hey, Mitch, get up on the bull.
Me? Don't listen to me. That's your worst mistake right there.
Well, I don't, but he's an impressionable kid.
Oh yeah, and you want me to tell you what to do?
But but under the bull, they got a lot of padding and stuff. So
yeah, but you could still get thrown off if the guy. It depends on the guy's mood. If he's in a mood, he'll throw you off.
He did pretty well compared to all those other people that were falling off.
Hilarious.
Oh, I like the girls that are so drunk from the bridal parties they just
absolutely. Yeah, 2
right
seconds.
off that thing.
Oh. You're killing me.
It's a strange place that place after that.
I gotta tell this one story.
Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to it every year.
I gotta tell this one story because I'm texting with Mitch. She goes, "Yeah, we're meeting at what's the name of the place? The Voodoo
Vista Lounge.
The Vista Lounge." He goes, "We're gonna meet at the Vista Lounge," and I'm like, "Vista Lounge? I haven't even heard of this place."
It was the first time I was there.
So we go out, we find this place, and there's a line of like 30-something, 20-year-olds waiting to
yeah.
get into the place.
Yeah.
And I'm dressed, in my Saturday garb with a tie and vest, and this security guard comes up to me and he goes, "Can I help you, sir?" I said, "No, I'm just looking for a friend of mine." He goes, "Well, who's your friend?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, well, it's Mitch Halleck from Terrificon." He goes, "Oh, well, there's a VIP section up there.
Yeah.
I could go look and see if he's up there." I'm like, "No, you don't have to. I'm texting with him. I don't even know if he's here yet.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, I'll go check." And he goes inside and he checks. And then I happen to be waiting around and I look up, and way up at the top,
Yeah.
from the floor, you can see this mountain that goes up. And all of a sudden I see the security guide's face like peer over the edge. And then
Yeah.
this beautiful woman's head peers over the edge, and they're
Yeah.
pointing at me. And I'm like, "Hi."
Yeah.
And they're pointing at me and they're talking. And you can see the lady go, "That's
No,
not him."
that's not Mitch. He's
yeah,
going
yeah.
on. Yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah. So
That's
then
not a VIP. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah,
the
pretty
security
much,
guard
yeah.
comes downstairs and he goes, "Well, I'm sorry, sir." I said, "Let me guess. That beautiful woman was not Mitch." And
No, no, no.
he goes, "No, sir, it was not."
No.
He goes, he goes, "Why don't you come in anyway?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "All right."
Yeah.
So then he looks at my son, and my son's dressed in shorts and a tank top, basically, and a shirt
Yeah.
over it. And he goes, "We have a dress code. You're not allowed in here with the shorts and a tank top." And we're like, "Oh." And he goes, "That's okay. Come on in."
Yeah. Yeah.
So he lets us in.
Yeah. And
And
then
we
I
were
showed
we
up.
were we were we were like a sore thumb. And then Mike Pellerito's like, "I want out of here. I want to get out of here." I'm like,
No,
"Well,
no, 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 no.
let's
We
give
didn't
it
stay
another
that
minute
long.
or so. Let's give it
Yeah.
another minute." And then Mitch shows up and he goes,
Yeah.
"What the hell's going on here?"
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Because-
and then Ross Mark One bought us drinks, so I said, "All right, if he's buying,
that's
I'll
nice.
hang out."
It's
Yeah.
true, yeah.
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 And then the big guy, Cooper Andrews, who's from Walking Dead, he was there too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Hilarious.
another fun evening at 1 in the morning with Mitch at Terrificon.
It's-
You
it's
never
so-
know what's
so-
going to happen.
It's so random. Absolutely, man. And again, I think our random moment was with Atuma,
Yeah.
driving in and just waiting in line and stuff. And he's like, "I've never done this before." We're like, "Don't worry, man. We got you covered. It's all right. You'll have fun."
No.
Yeah, it was
You
good.
never know what's
you
going to
did-
happen.
You did good, Mitch.
I found there was a karaoke place. I did not know that behind the Irish bar in the back in Lansdowne. There was a whole stage.
Wait, there's
I
an
think
Irish bar?
Yeah, you've been to the Irish bar.
because
I
there's
can't remember that.
there's also the private karaoke room in the arcade place.
I have only been to the arcade place like once. I haven't been there in years.
Okay,
And it's
Last
right
year-
outside the expo door. Yeah, you got to go
Right.
downstairs. Yeah.
right. Yeah, Cully Hamner, Stephanie
Oh.
Phillips, and I, and Wayne, and Kat from Doug Peters' company.
Comic sketch art. Yeah.
Yeah, we all went down there and
I
sang
did not
and had a
know
blast.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So-
Stephanie also rode the bull. I got video of that.
Stephanie
too,
did
so.
write the bull.
Well, next
Leilani,
year, Mitch, next
DeDio
year.
also
Next
wrote
year
the
I'll
book.
do the karaoke.
Next year, we're all going to do karaoke.
Because people have been
Yeah.
asking for karaoke.
Oh God,
Bean.
yeah, please.
Michael Bean was asking his wife. It's so weird because what was his name? Not John Connor.
Oh, he was Reese.
Reese in Terminator. And I'm like, it's so surreal because what a Love Boat episode this would be.
Yes.
If we all crashed onto an island or something, you got young Indiana Jones over there with the nerdy guy from Breakfast Club with Captain Riker or Commander Riker, and
Yes.
then Reese over there, and then we got Rebecca Romaine, who was
That would have been a great
Swimsuit
Love Boat
number one.
episode.
right.
And
No, we need- and
Michael Bean.
I should have got Bernie Capel to show up because he lives down the road.
Mitch,
Right.
I know he's going to be gone. God bless him. He's in his
I
upper
know
80s.
he's still doing plays.
and I'm telling you, my interview with him on Word Balloon,
Yeah,
he had so many great stories. And come
Doc
on,
Bricker.
Siegfried from Get Smart. Come on.
I know, and I can get Ted Lange to show up as Isaac.
Ah! You know what I'd want to ask Ted Lange? He's in those terrible Andy Sedaris movies from the 80s
What?
where it was fast cars, speedboats, and Playmates. And it was like all really bad action movies with sex scenes and stuff.
Donna
And he-
Spears and yeah.
Yes,
from
Donna
Playboy.
Spear,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, very good,
Yeah.
Frank.
And he and
I
he's
watched
in
all
that-
those
the other day.
movies. I
Yeah,
watched all those.
Wait, Isaac
Someone
from the
told you
Love
that,
Boat.
Frank. Well, obviously, you've never seen that. so-
Isaac from the Love Boat is in those movies.
Yeah, he's like a drug lord in one of those movies.
What?
And Andy Sedaris, the director of these movies, came up through sports. And ABC, he would do all the college football games. He was the director.
Right.
And he's the guy that got smart back in the 60s and was like, yeah, we'll show the football action, but every now and then, let's cut to the stands. And if there's a hot co-ed, let's get a shot of the hot co-ed.
Really?
And that's and I mean, really, like alongside Chet Forty, who was the Monday Night Football ABC director and stuff. Andy was a very accomplished sports director, and then in the '80s, he started making these cheap action movies. I'm trying to remember. Malibu Express, I think.
Andrew Stevens was in a lot of them too.
Oh, those movies. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Not all the Andrew.
Oh, there you
Stevens
go.
movies, but
Langley remembers.
No.
Here's a great one. Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Yes,
absolutely,
Hard
man. Yeah.
Did he make Hot Dog the movie or
No.
Beach
No.
Girls?
No.
You know Andy Sedaris movies.
Stephen Boyd, who was also on General Hospital with Jeannie Francis, was one of the leads of these Andy Sedaris movies.
Really?
But yeah, you're right, Franco. Donna Spear. That's so one of the women.
Donna
absolutely.
Spears, and who's there's a brunette, and then there was the other blonde. I want to say Hope something. No,
I don't remember.
I can't remember. But I remember Donna Spears, yeah.
Oh God, and I'm so bummed because when I started Word Balloon, I tried to track him down to get him on a show, and he had just passed away like a couple years before I started Word Balloon. I'm like, I would have loved to have talked to him.
Mitch, Michael Biehn is going to be out in Dublin Comic Con.
Really?
Great.
Yeah.
Did you tell him that you're going to see him out there?
I didn't get a chance to talk to Michael Biehn at all.
Okay.
He was right next to Atuma. Atuma was there, and Bean was right next to him.
Every time I talked to Atuma, it was just going through the green room, the restroom, or when he came by our table. So.
And again, Langley has another great title from the Sedaris movies, Picasso Trigger.
That's a real movie?
Yep.
100%. Yep. Those are the kind of movies you might want to look on YouTube because a lot of like crappy movies like that, they're up there complete.
All those movies used to be on Cinemax back in the day.
100%.
Oh, I remember Cinemax.
Yep.
Skinemax, we used to call that.
Absolutely.
Wasn't Andrew Stevens? He wasn't on Red Shoe Diaries? That was Duchovny, but didn't he have like some kind of?
He had a couple of movies with Shannon Tweed and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go, Shannon Tweed. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and Langley says all the Andy Sedaris movies are on YouTube. So if you want to get your jollies and everything, everybody, these are classic.
Well, I'm sure they cut out the.
Movies. No, they don't, Franco. No, they really don't.
Wow.
Depending on the movie, they really don't. No.
You probably remember more of it than it really is, and you go to watch it like that's it.
No, because that's what you watched it for was just those parts really.
100%.
Okay.
Oh my God! And yes,
they would come in from a mission like they just shot up a place or just took down some guys, and they'd come back to their boat hangout place, their headquarter boat. And then they would change, and they'd be all naked while they're changing, and then they would go out and do another mission. So,
totally. No, explosions, machine guns, speedboats,
spandex
cars, and playmates. It's like, what's wrong? There's no downside to that.
We should do a Trek watch on those when there's no Trek on. We should just watch
those
movies. Fine with that. I would totally be fine with that. And as Langley said, too, if they're not on YouTube, Tubi is a great source of a lot of those cheap cinematic
movies.
Well. Yes.
Yeah.
You gotta sit through a couple commercials every 10 minutes or so, but it's worth it. It's fine. I always when I have Mr. Skin on, I always bring up movies like that or actresses from the 60s and 70s like Barbara Boucher or Nancy. Oh, I can't think of her last name. She's the one in the Star Trek episode. She's the witch and the Mugatu, the white ape. With
with the dark,
the really hot.
Yeah,
Nancy Kovac. Nancy, and I'm like, and I always ask Mr. Skin, I'm like, Nancy Kovac, was she ever naked? And he loves it because he's my age and our age, Mitch. And he's like, John, he goes, you're like the only guy that ever brings up people from the 60s and 70s. And he goes, the good news is we got all those people on Mr. Skin. If they Angelique Pettyjohn, who is from the Gamesters of Triskelion.
Oh, the one with the orange hair. Yes.
Yeah, the big hair and the tinfoil bikini. Yeah.
Okay, so Hard Ticket to Hawaii was Donna Spear. She was Miss March 1984.
Of course.
Hope Marie Carlton. Remember I said there was a Hope?
Yes.
Hope Marie Carlton was Miss July 1985. And Cynthia Brimhall, who was Miss October 1985. And Patty Dufek, who was Miss May 1984. So there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
And I probably still have all those issues upstairs in a box somewhere.
I was going to say, you can imagine him at the mansion going, hey, listen, I'm making a movie. You mind getting naked? What? I just got naked for a spread. Double entendre with the spread.
Got some Coke.
Oh, my God.
Some movies.
That's funny. Mike says Sedaris must have run out of titles when he got to the 1990 film Guns, although it might have had a double meaning. Absolutely, buddy. Good Lord. Oh, so again, Andy Sedaris, one of my favorite cheeseball filmmakers.
Genius.
Yes, the Roger Corman of TNA.
He should be up there with the trauma guy and Roger Corman.
Yes, 100%. Yes, Lloyd Kaufman, indeed.
Lloyd Kaufman, yeah.
We'll try.
All right,
maybe you know who was at the show, by the way? Some weird guy named Greg Sestra or something. He made this movie called The Room. It's one of the worst movies ever made. And they made a movie about it with Franco called not Disaster Artist or something like that. Yeah. He was there, the guy that was in the movie. I'm like, so you go around.
Tommy Wiseau starred in the Room. My son is like a big fan of that film.
The guy was at the show.
Oh wow.
Greg's whatever, Sestra, whatever.
I wonder what he was, because Wiseau was the main guy, and he directed it and he starred in it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you go around promoting a bad movie. He goes, yeah.
Yeah, but he's notorious for it. It's like
you want to see a good. Yeah, you want to see a good video. Look up Tommy Wiseau. He's the guy who wrote and directed The Room.
Right.
But he wanted to audition for Joker, and he did a Joker audition. It's on YouTube.
Oh wow!
You can watch that. Yeah.
Oh, it's like Plan 9 from Outer Space and all those ridiculous actors. Made a career of being in that movie years, decades afterwards and stuff. Oh, Lenny says, yeah, Greg Sestero.
That's the guy. Yeah, he just showed up. He literally, I didn't give him a hotel. I didn't give him a fee. I didn't give him. He just wants a table, and he had no sign. He just made a little piece of paper and just tacked it to the wall.
Wow.
He sat there. I was like, this is weird.
That's
great.
awesome.
It was like when we had Chris Atkins. He just showed up. It's like,
really? I didn't know that. God,
you
when
didn't
he
know
was
that?
there,
The Blue Lagoon? He was there like 2 years ago.
I knew he was there.
I remember when he was there.
Yeah, everyone was like, what's he doing here? I'm like,
I don't know.
So,
But I always say the poor guy spent way too much time under the sun between Blue Lagoon and his other stuff.
He's a little leathery. Yeah.
Yeah, his skin is like, literally, if you see a copy of the Constitution, it's the same texture.
That's not nice.
Parchment. It's not. I don't mean to be rude, but it's like you could light matches on that guy.
I don't mean to be rude, but here I go.
But he looks like you could make a football out of it.
It's like that statement. I don't mean to be racist, but
exactly.
We're going to be racist. Yeah.
That's like when they called me all last week. I know you're real busy, but and I'm like, then why are you calling me then?
All I know is I'm glad, much like Franco, that I brought a jacket, because it really covered my fat ass and my fat gut.
See, I always wear the jacket at the shows, and my wife said, "Stop! You look like an '80s rock promoter." Because I usually have I have a T-shirt with a sports jacket and my jeans on. But this year, I was banned from wearing the sports jacket for the same reason. But sports jackets also have pockets, and I always lose shit. And I lose my phone and my passkey.
I lost. All right, so we took it because it's legal. And I knew I was going to need gummies to help me sleep.
I know.
I was going to be so hyper.
Yeah.
So Chucky and I, Thursday night, we go to the dispensary.
Right.
We come back. Luckily, I caught the Uber before it drove away because floppy pants, my phone fell out of my pocket. Then we were in the green room, and I left my phone in the green room, and we were going to take a picture of with Atuma, and I'm like, oh, shit, where's my phone? Where's my phone? And Chucky's like, I think it might still be in the green room. And it was. So 2 times I almost lost my phone.
I thought you were going to say we gave Atuma all my edibles. We didn't see him again. That's why he was eating ice cream with me.
No, somebody else got my extra edibles. I'll just leave it at that.
He was trying to blow that horn. Giganto shows up.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, we should wrap. We did.
Yeah, people don't want to hear about our stories.
Exactly, but no, we did it. We did a good hunk about Andy Sedaris movies. That was fantastic. Everybody, Picasso Trigger, either on YouTube or Tubi, you'll find it and you'll thank us because it's
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Or Hard Ticket to Hawaii or Malibu Express. Yes.
Malibu Express, that's the other one, yeah. Oh boy.
All right. Good job. Thank you, Mitch, for Terrificon.
Yeah.
We loved it. We had a great time, great stories. Everybody enjoyed it. And thanks for letting us be a part of it. It was fun.
And nobody got arrested.
Yeah. Nobody got arrested.
How about that? Of.
All right. Live long and prosper. Take care. I'm sure I'll have some form, and Mitch will likely be with me next week to wrap up the season of Strange New Worlds Franco will be on assignment in England and England and Dublin. Hopefully Wayne will be
Wayne
back.
will be back.
And yeah, we'll get a report from Star Trek Las Vegas. But yeah, lots more coming up for Trek Lunch. And even in that interim period between Strange New Worlds, and don't make sounds when I'm talking, please. Thank you. And also in between Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks, I'm going to try and fill the time with some IDW guests talking Trek as well. So
Sure.
Yeah, when is Lower Decks?
now, by all means, fire
September.
up your like there you go. Okay, there we go. All right, everybody, take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.